Hey, you guys, it's MJ from Alta Love. How are you? I had a day off yesterday and I've been editing the videos for Zenville Zero Waste, and we're really finishing off basically. So that's going to be a completed online course. And we've got participants heading into week 3 right now, which means they've managed to get through their bathroom without like getting too overwhelmed by the concept of zero waste. And people are really enjoying the Zenful piece. Katie's had a really gentle impact on people when it comes to making that Zenful transition to a lower impact lifestyle, environmentally speaking. And just sharing that information and in a gentle way is really useful to people. Good morning, Kelly, Ryan, O'Brien. How are you? So the intuitive collective energy update that I'm getting is about our integrity and sovereignty. And the pole shift, or the reversal of the world's thinking, or collapsing of timelines into a unified field projection, has to do with us dropping into our fullness of our integrity as sovereign beings. So for a lot of us, this has been actually about merging with other in partnership, whether business, professional, familial, romantic, obviously. Nice. And so we're learning how to totally stay in our own sovereign connection, which just means us being in the alignment of our truth. Like that's the full acceptance and love of who we are as unique beings. And then working in tandem with other for like a unified goal or unified projection. So for me, having been like quite a fiercely independent, impulsive, not always very practical human, I'm learning how to ground those energies with the help of other by merging with other in co-creation. So like in a unified co-creative way. And this is where our telepathic communication abilities start to hone and or refine, because the new relationships are vibrating on a similar enough frequency that we're in recognition of the telepathy, which means there's never a kind of isolated or separate experience. The experience is always leading into that co-creative union. It's all that means really is accelerated manifestation for us. So in a more broad sense, we're starting to integrate and make sense of quantum manifestation. So we're no longer looking at manifestation from the place of like, I want this, I want that, give me this. Manifestation is actually, I'm just hearing much more of a unified experience. It's, to me, the truth of empowered manifestation is not actually coming from a point of attraction of trying to get anything anymore. Because we have this understanding that if there's any unconscious program in me that's like still seeking itself outside of myself, it's a distortion. So it's actually coming from a disempowered enslavement program. So seeing all of those programs more consciously and more consciously helps us to integrate them until we're not seeking anything. Therefore, we're not unconsciously projecting, but rather we're meeting our conscious projections now. So we're really sweet. We're really navigating consciousness in a very obviously new way. And then that is, again, shifting things in the masses a lot more quickly. Because I am hearing that it's like the collective energy field is like getting ready to kind of blow. And I wanna say that in not a fearful way, but like a really loving, we're grounded enough to really hold space for the continuing lifting of lids. I'm randomly hearing something about stuff that's happening in the mainstream media, and my own personal teachings here is to unplug completely from mainstream. And I know sometimes that can seem completely impossible, and yet for our energy, again, speaking from my personal experience, part of my discipline is to not engage with a lot of external information, especially information that I sense intuitively has an agenda, i.e., it's trying to sell a certain story, whether it's a fearful story, whether it's a disempowered story, it's all kind of the same thing, right? Anything that stimulates that fight flight response within the human energy field triggers that fear, which in and of itself is disempowered. Hence, any external being, if you're in and disempowered, they can feed off of the fear. And the they is still an aspect of self. It's like an unconscious, distorted aspect of self looping back round upon itself until it learns the lesson, until it wakes up, until it steps into the power of its knowing and sort of stands down and faces down that corruption or that darkness, because the fear that we perceive is always an aspect of our own self. And this is what's so often, I would say, the trickiest thing for us to own, because it's so uncomfortable, energetically speaking. And yet, when I talk in the Fearless Life Guide about the emotional storms, those are the alchemical processes that we, in the atonement or ascension or just healing, whatever you want to call it, we come back to the unified self, which is like a whole familiar state, something, again, visceral. We know who we are. We know what we look like in this realm. We know the purpose. We know how it feels to be at one with ourselves, right? And so anything outside of that is like a distortion. And again, we can't compare or compete in any way with one another, because its sovereignty is complete signature uniqueness, right? It's so authentically you that there's no space for any external distraction. So we're coming into a greater, like embodied aspect of our wholeness, which is then permissioning other people also to stay in alignment with their wholeness and their integrity. Um, and so for some of us as well, we might be being guided to like withdrawal even further, because we're anchoring in enough energetically that we can, and again, this is weird simultaneity or paradoxical stuff, but as the messages begin to continue to permeate into the mass collective energy field, that's then our permissioning to start to kind of level up a little and withdrawal, which again, the paradox is that we're kind of dropping into our desired reality more. So like our life can either become more peaceful, more supported, more abundant, more joyful, more quiet, maybe more calm, more empowered in our own unique way. And then that would and then that, so this integration from those who res with my message, I was gonna try to short for a message and it wasn't gonna work. um the tides are turning. So it's like suddenly past patterns are like shifting in our favor. And then this is what's continuing to up level the mass awakening. And then we're grounded in to continue to manifest the light that we are. And then that continues to shine back. But in our livelihoods, it's this very, very real feeling of like we're not going back to patterns that we used to be in for most of our lives. The darkness we've really faced, it's like a tipping point. We really get it. We're navigating consciousness. We're manifesting our quantum selves, which is us merging with the broadest aspect of who we are for this potential. And that's a vision that I've been getting a lot in my meditation and stuff, is like I keep seeing this sort of blanket of white, and then there's like there's like this merging feeling of being one with the light, and then the lightness actually like heals the totality of our beingness whenever we're in any aspect of distortion. And what's the only difference is that it's more and more obvious to me, instantaneous, when I'm floating back into past thought programs. And I'm, coming into energetically this place of total love and forgiveness. And I think that's a big sense of this next wave of energy, is like total love, forgiveness, and release of the past projections in honor of the totality of all beings involved, including the self. And then moving into our new reality, embracing it, or we're simply embracing the unknown. Wow. You look different today. Did you just shower? I feel like that's like, you washed yourself. Well done, Molly. No, but I straightened my hair. Straightened. This is my attempt. It was straight at one point. This is my attempt at like straightening my hair. Um, but it's already gotten wavy. Like the waves have already started to come back. Those of you who have kind of wavy and or curly hair will understand what I'm saying. I don't have a GHD, so I just blew it dry. And again, I swear to God, it was actually like poker straight when I finished blow drying. But already my hair's natural tendencies are like, I need to curl. I need to curl. I can't stay straight for you. So, no, my difference is again just a little bit more makeup, and I still have this like light on me. It's not great though because it's all shadowy. Anyway, I randomly still have like a vlog that I made from the Alps, but I'm practicing being clear and really honoring the intuition rather than having reactive patterns. So I'm practicing just being more responsible for myself and for you, and noticing layers of reaction versus integrity and empowered voice. And but I also know that these deeper reactions coming up from within us are totally divine, and there's a lot of patriarchal construct that is starting to kind of come down a little bit. So there's a deeper, suddenly like there's layers and veils being lifted where we're seeing the impact of this thing we call the patriarchy or the system, and how it's empowered or disempowered us over the generations, hence the backlog, the karmic backlog, and like the amount of ancestral coding and programming that we're working through. And it's pretty awesome to have the greater clarity to see the veils and also see the unconscious program, and then stepping into this kind of more light-filled conscious manifestation, right? But it's also such a curious thing to be one kind of navigating, sharing the journey and expressing, because I am aware from my old mindset that what I'm saying is like weird and conflicted, but like somehow intuitively it feels like grounded and real and it makes perfect sense. And then there's humans on the internet who are like on the internet. There's humans reflecting back like, yeah, I understand what you're saying. I'm like, okay, see, so there is something coming through. There's a projection, there's an insight, there's a clarity that this isn't just for me, which again, the intuition is kind of like, that's what all of us have this intuition who's like, go, be free. And it's navigating that freedom through our emotional body, which is the share I did about the limbic system, right? The system is coming down. Yeah. So the way I see it is like the system is basically bottoming out and has been, well, it was never, I mean, the foundation was never strong enough anyway. It was never going to last, right? But like the system or the construct of that, which we call the system or the patriarchy, is like bottoming out from underneath itself, because the pillars were never like true. They were never like in truth or in like sturdy alignment with this planet's frequency. So now that the planet herself is undergoing this awakening and this ascension and this kind of moving into higher frequencies, the energies that tried to like stick themselves onto the planet, those energies are kind of dissolving. Hence the system, the world that we've been projected or been programmed to project out is collapsing, which is, I get a lot of this sense of like, you know, the glitch, like when there's like a glitch in the system or a glitch in the matrix or whatever, it's like more and more humans now are starting to have that. That's like my personal experience when I was a teenager about having those, seeing through the veils and seeing the glitches, thinking everyone else could see the glitches too, but then they were just in the matrix, right? And I was like, guys. And then that's the weird, you know, that sometimes that experience of like everyone thinks you're going crazy because you're having these awakenings. But then actually you get to the other side and you realize like, oh, it's kind of cool. Actually, you just got to own your like neo-ness. You have to like own your being those people outside in the matrix, endeavoring to help, you know, wake everybody up from the matrix, basically, so that we don't have these weird agents kind of like dictating to us who we are, because that doesn't feel good anymore. Yeah. Okay, so the Gregorian calendar, we're installing a new calendar, and that to me makes a lot of sense as far as like these new light codes that have been coming through, and the light codes from within self, and then the grid points and like the wires that I see, like the light wires that I see navigating around the planet. And then those are like, there's like bubble domes now. So the bubble domes are like almost energy vortexes on the planet. And so like out of those bubble domes, there's like cross light wires, and those are now like proper like vibrating. And then that is like one and the same as the system, or like those darker veils of energetic construct now are disappearing in the light of our awareness on that higher level. I know, it's like that, isn't it? The light web, you guys, right? Communicating at a certain frequency where other people understand, but it's so beyond our mental construct of our past. And yet it's unifying our past projections. So we have a full container of past, present, future, and multidimensionality. And like you can see the different veils, those 12-dimensional programs within the Earth's construct as well, once you're vibrating the cosmos, basically. But then that's the reason we came here, right? To have this experience, to go from human, human from that lower dimensional projection into higher frequency projection in body, in form, in one life, which is incredible, because this in of itself has started dissolving the disempowered reincarnation grid so that people don't have to keep getting looped back in unconsciously, hence anchoring in our sovereignty in the presence here now. And so that's part of the energetic update for October, is that we're staying fully in our integrity, facing our past patterns, but turning them around now. So the outcome of the current patterns that we're breaking through, the outcome is going to be completely different from every other patterned outcome in the past. This is so weird. The glitch is real. 13, 13, 13. Cool. Thanks, guys. This is like a replay of my day. Cool. You guys, like, I love you so much. I love being here. This is like possibly up to just like my favorite time of day is waking up and like meditating. I usually make coffee. Sometimes I even get dressed for you guys. I get out of my PJs and like put clothes on to feel like a sharp human being who's getting ready for her day. And then it's sharing. And then after I share here with you guys, I'm going to crack on and finish week 5 of editing. So I'm like getting way on top of the editing now. And then we're filming week 6, 7, 8. And then I'll finish the editing and the course will be, whoo! And then I'll be moving on to simplified, Spirituality Simplified, which is launching January 2019. And that's just like being as simple as possible with all of the spirituality mumbo jumbo. But again, like practical, most of you guys are already like, you're like preaching to the converted, right? We're already on a certain level, but like a lot of humans just need to kind of, in a very basic way, understand why meditation is the juice of life, and why them getting to know themselves and the clarity of who they are is like really all there is. But trying to find fun, accessible, tangible, practical ways for people to do this stuff and not making it too out there and or metaphysical and or kind of esoteric, whereby people lose the connection, right? That happens a lot in spirituality. We get too in our heads about concepts and forget the embodiment practice, which again is a huge connection to our emotional body. It's really only our own self connected to the emotional field, which is yoking that unified aspect within us, which is what we're all working on. Thanks. How insightful and beautiful. And that's something, when we show up like this on a live share, it's like the oneness factor. It's like, let's share in unity, right? So like whatever comes through is an aspect of yourself guiding yourself via me, the channel, who's showing up to share from that like place of pure love vibration. Thank you, Pepe, Kelly, Scott, Kana Kanaman Kanamanazia. That's a good idea because I actually start a lot with meditation. My sources is meditating on nature and writing. Yeah, that's cool. 13, 13, 13. I'm kind of curious. I'll probably look that up. It's hitting me on a certain level. So it's 10, 10 now. So I think I'll meditate for an hour and have it 10 to 11, 11. Woo woo! Is Kanamachia. Kanamanachia? Kanamanachia. I was wondering, are you having weird and intense dreams? No. But that's something about my personal like, you know how like we all have different gifts, I could say, or like, well, realities, and like I know that part of my like human reality experience in the here and now is like dream that was more of like the past, and now to stay really focused on my presence in form, I'm having to like stay very much in like the physical plane, if that makes sense. So like I'm noticing certain behaviors, activities, and foods that are very, I don't know, like physical, but like I'm just following the flow and I'm having complete faith. I'm like, okay, this is just what's going to keep me grounded and practical enough for this next phase. And then, the dream stuff has always come in and out in my experience when it's necessary and relevant. Just like seeing ghosts and or angels, that's not, I don't deny that as an aspect of some humans' reality, but I've never with my physical eyes like seen ghosts, entities, angels, or any of that. I'm somebody who just feels and senses. And then when I close, I can see visions with my inner eye. And if I'm working with people's energy, I can usually feel, see, and sense images. Um, but no, part of my awakening right now is more to do with just staying in the flow and flowing. So I was going to share this as well. What I'm getting, like, so to share with you guys, like, what my experience is like. Something that I've been saying for quite a while now is like, literally, it just feels like, and now I'm here, and now I'm here, and now I'm here, and so I have people, like, and now I'm doing this, and now I'm doing this, but like I don't know. There's like no walls. There's no barriers. It's just all fluidity and then presence and fluidity and presence and a lot of quietude. I'm having to rejig a little bit and focus on certain areas of my life which I've been neglecting. But is the sync time for the upgrade? Yes, psychic attack and dreams. Oh, no. I like that's something that might come out eventually, but there's certain parts of my routine which I actually think are protecting me, which again, they go against the dominant mainstream kind of fear mongering program. And so weirdly, I'm having to stay really in my integrity because there's certain routine behavioral patterns that I have that I'm like, why am I doing this? But then like what I'm getting is that actually part of like what how I'm working with my personal reality is actually kind of in a different way protecting my energetic vortex from certain, yeah, psychic attacks, certain entities and or awarenesses that like kind of try to kind of keep our own energy veiled, so we can't really, but I don't know, this is just me discerning, deducing as per usual. Miguel, I'm having the weirdest dreams all about global events. Um, Share them. I'm interested to know. Molly@alltolove.com. You guys can email me or message. Yeah, sure. I personally, hey Tech Victor, I personally find that like any substance that we're guided to is usually part of our own evolution. And and again, this is just my personal path and journey, but I am an advocate in plant medicine. So I do actually Now we have to discern like abuse and those subtle layers, of course, which I'm still navigating, but um I actually really believe that things like cannabis and mushrooms and ayahuasca, like the natural plant derived medicines, are, and actually anything, food in and the polarity, because contrast is how we grow, right? So really pharmaceuticals and plant medicine are, they're all part of our own evolution. I just know personally from my weird and wonderful spiritual experience that for normal, I don't know, how to say, the people still under the veil, or the people who are still suffering in really deep, heavy density, that there are substances, naturally occurring substances on this planet that can assist with people reconnecting. What we have to remember is that the truth of our reconnecting is within us. It's not the substance in truth. These natural plants are just assists. They're just there to kind of assist us in connecting. However, I'm also aware that um like, so for me personally, like I'm in alignment with cannabis, as in it's a natural, like, um it 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 feels calming, right, and connecting, whereas for some people cannabis makes them anxious and all like fucked up and weird. And so that's, and then for some people having a glass of wine might help them feel really good. Wine and booze never worked for me, right? It's like how they come up with studies that mushrooms and or microdosing on LSD, or like certain amounts of what's the other one, ecstasy, can be really good for mental health and depression. They've known that things even like ecstasy, that if people are doing a certain amount, it can actually help them heal from really severe diseases like cancer and ME and stuff like that. And so um yeah, so here's the thing when it comes to all of that. I purely am just non-judgmental toward myself and toward other path that we're on. And like that was something that even when I was really doing lots more drugs and stuff, it was like this deep, weird spiritual chica knew that like this is the path that I'm on, and I'm gonna try this stuff and I'm gonna do this stuff as long as I'm being guided to it. And then eventually I wasn't guided to it anymore. Cannabis is still a part of my life though, and I just don't have, again, I don't have any judgment about it. If I fancy a spliff, I'll have one. If I don't, I don't. And I just kind of ebb and flow with it, right? And I'm still working through stuff and I'm still working on my life. So I try to be like as real with you guys as possible, in that you're not there. I don't believe that there's some like the reward of the spiritual gods and goddesses, that you are a higher than thou human being because you eat certain food and you don't eat this, or you abstain from this and you don't from that. Like, I think true alignment in spirituality means you transcend the polarity of thinking there's a right way and a wrong way, or because each unique signature has a path that they're on, and that path is divine whether we think it or not. So the truth of everyone's potential is always the only truth there is. There's only that divinity. Everything else is just an aspect of our consciousness, which how we relate to that aspect is part of our own personal journey. So yeah, I don't talk about this stuff a lot because it's edgy and people have a lot of strong judgment and opinion around substance and drugs and stuff. Miguel, I also don't necessarily recommend ayahuasca. I have tried it. Again, I think I was open to it on the spiritual journey. It's profound. My this is the weird thing, is that my experience with ayahuasca, basically the plant just taught me that I knew the teaching. It was like the plant medicine was just reflecting back to me that like I'm doing the work. And then I realized, again, with our Western culture, there were people in that ceremony, I could tell and I could feel just like seeking liberation through the plant. But there again, that's the typical distortion that we all are bumping up against, is that our liberation doesn't come from a plant or from a human or from anything else. Liberation comes from basically burning through our own energetic karma via our emotions, especially the deep, dark, and ugly, shitty ones that most of us want to perpetually deny and mask. through seeking, like, cannabis is never going to liberate me. I'm fully aware of that, you know? Just we have all of us have different things we like to try. Just like some of us are like, I've had so many awesome spans of my life of total squeaky clean cleanliness as well. We all have, yeah, we all have like edges and borders and differences. And part of that authenticity is how we shine and then shine more for other people, right? Because I would just love to live in a world where we're not so judgy and so demonizing of things and just let to each their own. And it's not necessarily about anarchy, but it is about respect and compassion, right? Yeah, that's how it works. You are totally exposed. Very true. Must deal with the junk item by item. That's it. I've had so much junk, like so much deep pain and suffering throughout my life that I'm just at a point where I cannot, like, I'm just not going to be hard on myself about stuff. I'm like, this is me. I still eat sugar. I still, like, I'm a compassionate vegan, but I eat what I want. People are like, I'm purely raw. How are you not raw? And I'm just like, I think we're on different wavelengths. And I'm feeling that. I'm feeling even the subtlest threads of people kind of saying one thing and trying to get another. And you're like, anyway, it's really nice to see you guys this morning. It's really nice to see all of your reflections and to show up and have these kind of chats with you guys. It's all feeling a lot more real. And I think that's a part of these next waves, these next kind of levels and waves of our own manifestation is like, you guys have always been here in my consciousness. And now you're here in real time, like having these chats with me. Cause this is like, again, the reversal is most of my life. People kind of denied me or hated on me or were judgy or told me I was stupid and ridiculous. And I just kind of kept on quietly and reclusively. And now finally it's like all my brothers and sisters who can hear me are here with me. And it's a joy. It's a joy to be here with you. So I appreciate all of your comments and your questions, and I appreciate all of your love, and I appreciate you just choosing to like be the truth of your knowing and to like love everyone else in theirs, right? Scott, Zach, we are all in this together. I completely feel that way. And sometimes I remind myself as well that being in this all together isn't about like holding hands and singing kumbaya or even being like love and light all the time. Being in this together is like in your own personal heart, being like, yep, I accept everybody and I love everybody. And I know that I got to treat myself with that same love and respect to move myself into the timeline or into the presence that I know that I am, that I know that I have the potential to be. And so we keep moving in that direction. And then we just know we're in this together, but we all have different paths and different purposes, right? So we're just navigating that, like feeling in alignment and then showing up for ourselves so that we can show up for one another. Hey, Gia, how are you? If you desire to say it, we desire to hear it. Oh, that's amazing. I could hear like my ego, like almost just be like, like, yeah. Just calm down, Molly, calm down. No, but I really appreciate you guys. And it's been such a little boost, and that's, do show more yoga. That's totally your element. Thank you. I do know that. I do love the yoga, but here's the thing with the shifting stuff. I'm working in a more focused way. So I'm creating content and products that going to help the Alta Love movement expand basically and grow in a way that can serve this continual energetic exchange, right? In an uplifted and supported way. So I'm reconfiguring some stuff after yet again more waves of energetic shifts and releases. By that I mean deep emotional storms, which require us to drop in, shift some energy, and then suddenly we're like in this new reality. So I'm like in the new reality again. So there is more yoga coming through. I've just I've become like an editor these last few weeks. I'm like, I spend a lot of time, just hours of my day are spent on the computer, like editing videos, which weirdly I just fucking love, because I love the content that I'm creating for you. So and for more people that maybe aren't quite where we are, but still need some help to make changes in a loving way. And maybe they never will understand what we're talking about, but they still deserve to be loved, and they still deserve to be encouraged and inspired to make positive, practical change in their lives. So, yeah, thank you guys. Love you, love you, loads. Have a great day, and I'll enjoy. I'll enjoy speaking to you soon. Heading back to London this afternoon and evening, and yeah, just creating more goodness for you guys. I love you. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. I look forward to speaking to you guys real soon. Peace out, mofo lovers. I love you.